Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to our third installment of the Transfer Rumour show in this particular season. The season has now ended, of course, Daz. Shamrock Rovers have done the double.
Well, thanks to Cork for losing rather than saying thanks for Shamrock Rovers for winning.
Yeah, and I did a matchday vlog in that, so if anyone fancies watching that, please check that one out of the FAI Cup final. Billy was also a Shamrock Rovers fan on the day. There was a full array of Shamrock Rovers songs from Rory Gaffney to Danny Grant, aha, to Hoops, Hoops. Absolutely top
Ah,
quality stuff from Billy. But onto the show, Daz, and we've got five rumours here today. Some people will be familiar with some of these, some may not be familiar with others. But yeah, if you're new around here, Daz will give his rating between 1 and 10 for all these particular transfer rumours. Let's get straight into this one, Daz. And I'm starting off with a player that's on Dundalk, scored 12 goals this season, can play as a striker, winger, number 10. Jbeear Ruby of Dundalk, linked with a move to St Patrick's Athletic, 21 years of age, was at Waterford previously, has had a decent season at Dundalk, but you feel it'd be a big step up to potentially join St Patrick's Athletic. So, how would you see that particular rumour?
yeah, look, I suppose firstly he's a good young player. He's at a good age, 21.
Great
Champions with
age.
champions with Dundalk. Obviously
People
won.
get that reference. But go on, Daz.
I don't. Somebody else will.
Soccer AM.
But oh, right, I see. But yeah, the pass. I'm not feeling this one. I don't see it. I actually didn't hear about this one at all. Sometimes when you go throw one out to me, I'm like, oh, I heard of that, or someone might mention it to me. But this one, no. I think he'll actually stay with Dundalk. He's going to play. He's going to play with Dundalk, and he's going to be in the Premier Division. He goes to Pats. I don't see him getting in. Obviously, Pats now have a striker berth opening with Melia gone. He won't be here next season. But are they going to go after him from the first division? I don't think so. It's a huge push from the first division to the Premier League. We all know the gulf and difference, and it's huge.
I'll
And
give you an
like,
example, Daz. Barry Coffey, as a midfielder, scored 24 goals this season in the first division. And I don't think he's a top five or six, certainly Premier Division player. Do you know what I mean? So
no, like
it,
that was using Cove, isn't he? Isn't he on Cove?
he's a Cove Ramblers,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, like and he scored. That's a lot of goals for any player to score in any league. It's a lot. But like you said, there, that's a great example. Like, would he push his way into a Bowes, a Shelburne? I probably not. Even if you go further down the chain, Sligo, Watford, maybe. But I think Pats are going to be looking at the upper end for players this season to try and make sure they are either challenging for Europe or a title, because I'm sure that's what the ambition will be. I'm going to put this one quite low. I don't think it's going to happen, and he probably should stay at Dundalk if his contracted is up or if it's extended. He should probably stay there. He probably will play, and I don't think Dundalk will have a massive budget either next season, so to kind of need to keep who they have really. I'm going to put as a 2 out of 10. I don't think it's likely to happen at all.
That's fair enough. A Ruby to Pats, 2 out of 10, says Daz. Next one up is Jeannot Esua. He's a wing back at Galway United out of contract. Sligo Rovers, apparently looking at him.
Yes, I like it. I like it. This is one you can see happening. And unfortunately for any Galway fans out there, there is a huge clear out. Everyone must go by the looks of it. It's a lot of players out. The PFA released their list there of players who have technically said that they're free to leave. I think Galway had the most players on it out of everyone nearly. Just having a
Notably,
look through it.
Killian Bruder was on that, should we link to Waterford in the last show.
Yes, yes. Interesting stuff there. I suppose too. Sligo will probably be one of the newer teams to Galway as well. Galway's obviously off out with the west. It's kind of isolated a little bit from everybody else. So if he was going to go somewhere, it's probably more ideal for him. I could see him getting in a Sligo too. I could see him pushing his way in. If he doesn't play every game, I think he'll certainly be a part of the squad. I think he will leave Galway as well. Galway are in bother. They need to start making signings. Everyone's going. Yeah, I'm going to put this one reasonably high. I think Sligo would be a good fit for him. I think he's at that level. I think that's where he would get in and he would play. Yeah, I'm going to put as a 7 out of 10. I think this one is likely enough to go through, and I think he'd be a good solid signing in the first. I think they'd be happy with that signing.
I think Galway would be disappointed going to Sligo Rovers, obviously a Connacht club as well, but also they finished close enough in the league table, didn't they? So,
Yeah, they
if they
did.
lost them to maybe a team that was
Technically, they'd be a
higher up,
rival team, that they're technically rivals, as you said.
absolutely.
They're near each other in the league all the
Yes.
time. They're close enough when they play each other.
Yeah.
It's not ideal losing a player to a rival, and we all know what it's like. But
Mm.
that's the nature of the game.
That's the nature of the game. Esua to Sligo Rovers, you're saying 7 out of 10, isn't that right, Daz?
7, yeah, I think it's reasonably likely to go through. Yeah, I think out of everyone in the league, if you kind of look at transfers that way, out of everybody in the league, who's he more likely to go to? And I think it would be Sligo. If he wasn't to go back to Galway, I think it would be them.
Right, this one, I'd say you're familiar with this one. Most people have to be familiar with this one at this stage, but it's a rumour we haven't covered yet. So simply, that's why we're covering it. Sam Todd, Derry City to Bohemians, out of contract, centre back. Played a bit of left wing back this season for Derry City as well. Notably, didn't play an awful lot of the games at the back end of the season when the rumour started coming into play. Bows are looking for a centre back, to say the least. Where are you seeing that one? Or how are you seeing it?
Yes, I like this one. This is what one of the ones I was going to guess if you were going to say who you're going to guess this one. I actually heard about this one about a year ago that Bulls were thinking of signing him. He's obviously, like you said there, a left-sided player, which is everyone needs it for balance in the team. It's no shadow of a doubt Bulls need defenders. We don't have a fullback at the club, but I know he's not a fullback by trade per se, but he can play there. If you're looking at the Bulls team, we only have Flores really who goes into left back. I know there's been a few games here and there where the team changed and he kind of put Rooney left wing back. Not really
I
worked
think
out
though,
really.
Daz, if Bowes are signing him, I think they'd be primarily signing him for the central defence of Bert, to be honest with you, because that is his natural position as central defender, being honest.
Yeah, no. Well, what I was going to say was,
Mm.
he kind of gives depth to the left side as well. Like he can
Mm.
go in at left back if he has
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
And
yeah.
our contract, like you said,
Mm.
I think he would certainly play with Bulls.
Bit of
I,
experience, well, I think he's 27 now too, so.
Yeah, he's at a good age. He's been around a while now, and I have liked him when I seen him play. I think he's been quite good, and I think he would certainly bring something to the Bulls team. Could I see him playing ahead of who we currently have in the back four? I definitely think he'd put up a fight to get into the team, and we all know Rennie loves to change a team, so he definitely anyone that comes to Bulls, they certainly have a chance of playing because he doesn't really stick to the same 11 quite often.
I've just thrown that
Um,
out as well. Rennie worked with him up in Derry as well.
Oh, forgot that. That is true. That is true. Yeah, it's a good link to have. Obviously, that kind of would push the rating up a bit higher then because he knows Rennie. He might like him. He might get on with him. Rennie knows what he's going to get with him in terms of a person and a player. Yeah, quite high, especially because the room has been out a while and Bows are in the market for defenders. I'm going to put it as a 9 out of 10 simply because I do think this is going to happen. I do think he'll go through. And I think he'd be quite a solid addition for Bowes. I think he'd get in. I think he'd play. Great age. Be a welcome addition to the club. 9 out of 10. And I hope he comes.
Sam Todd, the Bohemians, 9 out of 10. That's very high, Daz, isn't it? Next one up is Jack Byrne, potentially on a move
Oh,
to Shelburne. And obviously, Jack Byrne was loaned out to Dubai Irish. Dubai Irish, doesn't that
the
sound
boy
like
Irish.
such a.
What a name.
Doesn't it sound like a fake FIFA name because they haven't
I,
got their license for a football team?
it does. I think it's right. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. It's either Billy Dennehy or someone like that is actually the director of football out there. So someone from the league is a director of
Is it?
football out there.
I think
I
that
remember
Denny's
reading that.
still at Kerry, I think, but you could be
Or
right. If
maybe he
someone
is.
knows in the comments, let us know, by the
Yeah,
way.
no,
There
but
is
I'm pretty
someone,
sure I
yeah.
read that. I've seen it. Yeah.
Oh, who
Which is
is
quite
it?
weird because they're either an amateur team or they're like a Division 4 Dubai team.
Yeah.
Don't know anything about them. But
But I think,
yeah,
to be honest, essentially he moved out because obviously the fallout with Stephen Bradley and that was kind of seen as a temporary move, which is why I think he will come back to the league. Where does he fit at Shells if he was to come back to Shells? Because in my opinion, Shells would have Kerr McInroy midfield who gives you good legs basically, get around the pitch. Jack Henry Francis can play as well, and also get around the pitch. I could see Byrne in a three-man midfield with them two. There's legs, and he's there to dictate things. They obviously have Lunny as well, but you need a squad. He kind of feels like he could fit in there, and again, Joey O'Brien played with him at
yeah,
Shamrock
like
Rovers. and Joey O'Brien was assistant there, wasn't he, when he was there as well, obviously. So again,
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
more links like that as well. And I'll be honest, as there's only two clubs you see him coming back to in the League of Ireland. They're two Dublin clubs, Shelbourne or St. Patrick's Athletic. And obviously the links are kind of there with Shelbourne. So, and it would make them, their midfield, in my opinion, be as good as anybody in the
Unreal.
league,
Yeah, yeah.
if not
It
better
would.
than everybody, actually, including Shamrock Rovers, believe it or not.
That's the
So how would you see
statement.
that one?
I think first of all, like Jack Byrne to me is a smashing player. I think he's absolutely unbelievable when he's on his game. Although he was pipped off at halftime a few times against Bowes, I think. But anyway,
A lot of
um,
that's down to injury, though. To be fair, Daz, as well. Like you
yeah,
need those
yeah.
all the time and stuff. Yeah,
He does. He does. He look. He has injury problems.
yeah.
He doesn't have the legs to get around the pitch that other players have. He's not that type of player. I think he's more of your luxury player. He's the one that can pull the ball out of nowhere and do something magical with it. He's the one that will take a corner and it'll be inch perfect. He's good for a free kick. Good for a deep playing free kick from your own half to get in and cause trouble. Good for a true ball. I think that's what he kind of gives you, and it's. I think apart from Shelburne, if you look at Pats. That's what I
Sorry,
think
just to
Pat's lacked
interrupt you
that.
quickly. Stephen Ward is the head of football development.
Stephen
Have
Ward,
you?
yeah, I
Yeah,
actually knew it was somebody. I
someone.
knew it was
Yeah,
somebody like
same.
that. Yeah,
I remember seeing it
crazy,
before.
crazy. No, no, you never hear of it. You never hear of the boy. You just don't hear them. But like, yeah, I knew there was somebody like that over them. So who knows what money he's on out there? Surprised more Irish players are not there really if they have a budget. But I think though, I do think that this transfer is between Shelburne and Pats. I don't think he will look to go to Bowes. I don't think that'll happen.
No.
And I don't really see him going back to the UK.
Not only
I
that,
don't
Daz,
think
but Bowes have Dawson Devoy, so they don't need a player in that of that profile, if that makes
no,
sense. Anyway,
but nobody would say no to him.
no,
I think
I understand
I, I
that. Yeah,
think I think throughout the league, in my opinion, I think Jack Byrne is one of the best players in that position. I think he gets into
of course he
every
is.
team. I think he does, and I think he'd be a welcome addition to the Shell's team. And I think if Shelburne were to sign him, they'd find a way to make it work to get him into the system. And I think he'd come back with something to prove. I think he'd want to prove Stephen Bradley wrong. I think he'd have a real hunger and desire to be back in the league. I think that could push him on, and he should be coming into the best spell of his career now with his age. And look, we all know what he can do. And I suppose just to summarize it, then Shelburne have the money. They could pay the wages. They're in Europe. A great manager, like you said, a great midfielder. They've got a good balance to their team, I think, and they're in the market for someone in that position, possibly. I think Jack Brown would really bring Shelburne on to the next level. I could actually really see it working. I could see it happening. Is he? I think he's under contract. Is he under contract for the season?
I think he is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I think
So.
Shamrock Rovers won't want him back, so I don't think there'll be an issue there. It's
Yeah, see, that's the
Bradley
thing.
there.
We always say in our league that's it's these kind of red tapes that kind of puts deals off at times. But the other side, though, the Rovers let him go to Shelburne, but they don't want to keep an unhappy player at the club, so they probably will let him go. Um, I think for Shelburne fans, yeah, I can see it happening. I'm gonna put it high. The only thing is, I could see Pat offering him more money, but no Europe. And Jack Byrne will want to play in Europe, and I think that's the deciding factor. And this is when Europe is massive for clubs.
Mm.
And the fact that Joey O'Brien, he's played with him. Obviously, Joey O'Brien played in the Premier League. He's played for Ireland at the highest level. Who wouldn't want to play underneath him? Especially what he's done with Shelburne when he came in and got them back together. And look what he's done. What a great team they have. They have a terrific team. I could see it quite high. I'm going to put it as a 9 out of 10.
Another 9 out of 10. Jack Byrne to
Another nine,
Shelburne.
and I don't really like giving out nines because they're quite certain. They're quite certain. They don't really like doing it, but I think that's where he's going to go. I don't see him going abroad. I don't see him staying out in Dubai. I don't see him going to the UK. He's been to the UK. He's came back here. He's not going to try Cyprus again. He's not going back to Rovers. Pats don't have Europe. Where else is he going to go? He's not going to go to Bowes. It's Shelburne. It's written all over it.
Brilliant stuff, Daz. 9 out of 10. Last one now is one that people will be familiar with as well. They know he's out of contract and he has been linked with Shamrock Rovers, but James Clark to Dundee. Now, my sense with James Clark is
Oh,
he'd like to give Britain a go. He's out of contract. I'd be shocked if he signed a new contract at Bowes personally. But how do you see the link with Dundee in Scotland?
yeah, I suppose like you said at the start, sure, we're this is after the cup final and Bows have Europe. So I think if Bows didn't have Europe, the chances of him staying was zero. I think now that Bows have Europe, the chances of him staying maybe is a 10 out of 100%. There's a small chance he might stay. Who knows what Bows could offer him to stay money wise? We don't know. But look, I suppose with James Clark, there's an awful lot of links with him abroad in the UK,
Mm.
in Scotland. Like I think he's been linked with Grimsby, Hull City, Dundee. I think Hamilton were in for him as well at one stage. There's quite a few teams out there that are looking for him, and there's a few teams I've heard people talk to me on mention too, and I was kind of I didn't hear about that one. Obviously, all rumours, but I suppose it's no secret to teams in the UK and England that he's a kind of a standout player. And he's someone who played as a striker for Bowes, who's an attacking midfielder and got goals, and he kept strikers out of the team. So that's he's a very talented player and he's very good. And I'll be very sad to see him go, and so will every other Bowes player. I think if he is going to go, he's going to go abroad. I think he's going to try the UK. He
Mm.
hasn't been there yet, so I think he's going to want to go and try it
The only thing with the
over.
Dundee link, though, obviously, I would fancy there's a number of clubs' interest, but the Dundee link is that the second bottom in the SPL. Would there be a fear from his point of view that what he doesn't want to get relegated potentially
Yeah,
either,
but it's
or is
like
it just a case of getting over to Britain? You know what
no,
I
no,
mean?
no.
And
Yeah, he'll get over it. I think because doing relegation spots, if they're still there come Christmas, they're going to be in the like Dundee are going to try and change their team. They could bring in four, five, six players, like any team in the relegation spot does. You need to change.
yeah,
He's coming in. He should have the attitude, the get up and go attitude. He should be have fire in the belly when he gets over there. He could start pushing players out, and I think that's what they'll be looking for. And it'll be obviously a new challenge for him, and he could end up getting right into the team based on all them factors. And he could have a clause in his contract if they go down, he can leave, or he can go to another team in Scotland, or he could come back here. At the end of the day, like I always say about players in our league, if it doesn't work out abroad, you can always come home. And I think every player knows that. Something quite unique to our league. You go abroad, doesn't work out, you can always come home. And Bowes will always take him back, or any team would want him in the league. I think he'd go anywhere. I think he'd get into most midfields, and if he doesn't get in, he certainly comes on. It's definitely a standout player for me last season. Anyway, in terms of him linking him to Dundee, I think they'll offer him substantial money. I think he'll go to Scotland. He'll get to play in the SPL. A few Irish players over there now as well in the SPL itself. And in terms of putting a number on it to Dundee specifically, it's actually quite hard because
mm.
there's an awful lot of teams in for him. So just based on that reason, I'm going to put it a 7 out of 10. I think Dundee will offer him reasonable money. Bowes won't
What would
get a
you give
fee
it
for
out
him
of
now.
10 that he leaves Bohemians?
Well,
Just
that's a
leave.
great one.
What
I'd put it 8 out of 10 Elise Bohemians
would you? Yeah, I'd have it
because
higher personally, but yeah, I would.
I
Yeah,
think I
I
think
would.
if Bowes didn't have Europe, I'd be putting a 10 out of 10. He'd be gone. It's just
Mm.
a fact that we can kind of clinch into hope that he
Yeah.
might. There's always a chance he will, but I think he's gone. I think he will go. And look, best of luck to him. He deserves it. He absolutely deserves it. And if it doesn't work out, he can always come home. But yeah, I think he might wait a while and see who comes in for him. He might pick the best offer then come closer to Christmas because I
Mm.
think that's what he'll do.
Yeah, 100%. When you're out of contract and you've got a lot on the table, you can take your time. But James Clark to Dundee, Dad says 7 out of 10. Guys at home, let us know what you think in the comments. Give us a rating from 1 to 10. Any of these deals very interesting, especially towards your personal club as well. Thanks very much, Dad. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you later. Thank you, Dad.
Here's Key.